Hollow Knight Silksong. Easy on the wallet, but is it worth your time?
We deal with an infestation 6 years in the making, and Shea gets bugged.
In order to find out here on Broke and Gaming.
Welcome absolutely everyone to Broke and Gaming. I am your co-host Shea.
I am your other co-host Dan, and we are joined once again by our friend Lex. Lex, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to talk about games with y'all again. I can't believe it's been this long, but I'm ready.
Well, we changed the format a bunch of times, and
For sure. We've had you on since the Hollow Knight episode for sure, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes. We did one with Kelsey.
Was the last time There Is No Game?
Yes, I was going to say, I did. There is no game with Kelsey. I think that was the last one. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I don't
Stanley
think Kelsey
Parable.
was on that one.
Was she not?
But Stanley
Were you with us
Parable?
for Stanley Parable?
We didn't. Okay, hold on. We did not cover Stanley Parable.
Did we not?
There's no way to know. That's lost to that's lost to the annals of history. Yeah.
I don't listen to this show. It's fine.
Yeah. Lex, other than the game we're covering today, what have you been playing recently?
Yeah, so big into Pokemon Pocket. It's been pretty much all I've been doing with my time these days. I get my copious amounts of free time with having my crazy life I do. It's basically just grinding away in Pocket, like the pro gamers do. The big Twitch category of hundreds of thousands of viewers on Pokemon Pocket. No, yes, I have been doing that. That was mostly a joke, but I've also been actually doing that. It's something I enjoy doing with my kids. I don't know if you can call that a game. That I'm usually super non-gatekeepy about what is a game and what's not a game. But I think that people have a valid argument when they say that this TCG collection emulator is not technically a game. But
John, who I run game nights with,
yeah.
it has become popular in some of the nights that he's been running. So
Stop it.
It's great.
I'm
it's
not
fun.
kidding.
It's fun.
Oh
it's
my God. Okay. All right.
It's gambling for kids, and I'm all about that. You know me.
With timed events.
You gotta start them young. You gotta start them young. You gotta get those addicting dopamine hits in to them young, so that they spend all their money on digital cardboard and not on actual drugs. But But in all seriousness, I have mostly been playing Pokemon ZA. That's the other big one. So yeah, Pokemon's just kind of dominating my life right now. Like I'm 9 years old. 9 to 14 is probably the age, my peak Pokemon age in my life. And then I had kids, and those kids grew up, and now they all love Pokemon, and so it's something that we all have together, which has been fun. Been nice, but
there is a reason that is the most profitable franchise in the history of the world.
Yeah, it's just when I thought I got out, it just roped me right back in. But yeah, Pokemon's crazy these days. It's there's literal garbage, literal Pokemon garbage piles. So
are any
crazy.
of the? I mean, is this a new generation of Pokemon? Did they create more for this one, or is this
ZA? They introduced a few new megas, which is just like a new evolution of the Pokemon you already know.
Yeah, continuing to put Digimon into the ground.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we won't get into the whole Digimon versus Pokemon thing on this show, but
yeah, we couldn't.
Yeah, no, please, God.
I mean, look, I had a guy argue with me at a Dollar Tree out of
we can't
nowhere.
Do it, Dan. We can't do it.
Yu-Gi-Oh should be more popular than Pokemon, and I don't even know what about me thought he should talk to me about this. It was just the cashier at a Dollar Tree.
That's just the way you look. It's just your vibe that you give off. It's talk to me
about the negative zone.
Nothing. It wasn't like I was buying something Pokemon related. I was buying plastic containers, and just out of nowhere, this dude launches into a monologue about Yu-Gi-Oh! It was the strangest thing.
You were buying lube and condoms, and he was like, "This person wants to talk about." Anyway,
would you trust Dollar Tree condoms?
It depends on the Pokemon packs they have to offer.
That's fair.
Anyway,
So 6 minutes so far of unusable audio.
It all stays.
That's
in.
what you get. That's what you get when you invite Lex onto your show, baby.
All right, so there's new Mega Evolutions, but is this a remake of a previous generation? Is this X and Y?
No, this is actually its own thing. It's Pokemon Arceus came out. It's part of the Pokemon Legends series, where Pokemon Arceus came out a few years ago, where it's kind of almost like it's an open world Breath of the Wild type thing, but with Pokemon. And then this is a sequel to that, where instead of like mountains and stuff, you're just in one big city, which I know sounds just terrible. But I think this is one of the most divisive Pokemon games that have come out in quite a while. Like, some people really are not a fan of it. I've been enjoying my time with it, but I'm also really easy to please. So, it's been fun. It was a nice kind of a break from the masochistic, grueling nature of Silksong, which we'll get into. We'll get into it. But yeah, no, mostly just Pokemon. What about y'all? What have y'all been playing?
We'll cover that next time. When we have a guest, we usually...
Okay, that's fair.
I've been mostly playing one thing. However, I will state that I played exactly 5 minutes of something and then deleted it. But I think I'm going to discuss that in more detail.
All right. Give everybody a reason to tune in next time to find out what...
If ever there was a reason, yes. Listen to me bitch about something that I barely touched.
There we go.
Coming next time.
Quick update. Dan was right. We did cover the Stanley Parable.
Yeah.
For our 50th episode.
50. Yeah.
Yeah, with Lex and Kelsey. But that was not the last time that Lex was on.
And then I also was on for...
Bioshock.
That's right.
Yeah, during our AAA summer. Yeah.
I remember now. It's all coming back to me.
So it's been about a year and a half?
3 years? Something like that?
Who can tell? What is time? Anyway.
At this point, a literal lifetime is what it feels like. But we should get into our game today, and we will start, as we always start, with our short change history. Today, we are talking about Hollow Knight Silksong, which is a 2025 Metroidvania platformer developed and published by Adelaide, Australia-based Team Cherry. This is a follow-up to 2017 smash hit Hollow Knight, which we covered on this very show back in episode 7. Team Cherry's permanent team consists of only 3 members: Ari Gibson, William Pellin, and Jack Vine. First 2 being co-directors, and the third being their primary coder. In addition to these 3, there were roughly about 100 independent contractors that helped work on this, which was kind of a massive undertaking. But the business model for Team Cherry is just a very slimmed down team as a whole. But Hollow Knight Silksong is currently available for Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox platforms, as well as PC and Mac. All right. So, where to start? We all loved Hollow Knight, yes?
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to go back and listen to the old episode to remember how I felt about it. But no, it's like
Lex, do you want to know?
I know I broke your heart by telling you what happened with Grubs, but
yeah.
Pretty sure it was a pretty glowing review from all 4 of us at the time.
Yeah, it's definitely top 5 game for me, for sure.
Oh, wow.
After all these years. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so that's a perfect place to start. So how, just on a base level, do you feel this matches up against the original?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I think that, when it came out and people started playing it, obviously there was a lot of hype because it almost, obviously we've been expecting it for a long time, but it became memed, right? About how like it never was actually going to come out, like a GTA 6 type of thing, right?
There was a Twitter account that was literally dedicated to how many days it's been since it had not come out.
Yeah. And so it's very, you're almost kind of setting yourself up for failure at that point, right? The longer it takes for you, the more you kind of expect this game to be amazing.
Yeah.
And I kind of set my expectations to be, if I at least can get as much enjoyment as like the first few hours of Hollow Knight, then I'll be happy with it, right? Like I was just trying to like set my expectations a little bit lower. Obviously it came out, a lot of people found it very, very challenging, and we can talk about why that is later, but I would happen to agree, and I think there's another person on this podcast right now that would agree that it's a lot harder than the first one. So even outside of my personal views on whether or not it's just as good of a game or better of a game, I think that like it's definitely harder. And so I don't necessarily, for me personally, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I've still been enjoying my time with it, but it is harder for me to get through than the first one was. But yeah, what about you guys? What do you guys think?
So I'm the furthest out of the three of us. I have not fully completed it, but I did beat what is essentially the base game, which I'm gonna explain more later on. But I think I'm the furthest, then Lex, then Shea.
I don't think there's any mystery there. I'm definitely the least progressed in this game for sure.
Let's dig into the difficulty spike, because the thing that's kind of common between these is they don't really explain too much about how to actually traverse or your best course of action in terms of how you go against certain enemy types. They kind of leave it up to you to figure it out and also like work out different builds. This one's really reliant on like essentially a gadget system that is fully new. Like this was not a thing in the original Hollow Knight. You had the souls that you could like spend as like mana essentially, but this is kind of like its own fully fleshed out system. Shea, what kind of troubles were you having?
Oh man, platforming mostly. I've been pretty vocal about my lack of skill in platforming, and it was definitely present when I was playing this game, for sure. Just traversal was difficult for me, and that's a frankly humiliating thing to say on this podcast, but that's what it was.
I mean, I would agree that like the twitchiness of the game is definitely like I feel like they made this game with the expectation that everybody's played Hollow Knight, right? And if there's people out there, there are people there.
Lex, I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna save this for pros and cons.
Yeah,
but I'll get into it now. I think if you have 8 years between the first game and the second game, I have forgotten all of the muscle memory that you're expecting to have
exactly
in the second game.
They designed,
do you know what I mean?
It felt like they designed this game and the difficulty level for the people who have been playing this game nonstop since Hollow Knight first came out and who are like speed running the Palace of Pain all the time.
Dogs.
and so they said, "Oh, we need to make this game for that crowd." And make sure that the difficulty like stands up for those people, and that just kind of leaves the rest of us suffering a little bit. So yeah, I would say it's funny because there is a difference between like traversal. I found that traversing this world in terms of actually like navigating where to go next, way easier than Hollow Knight. Interestingly enough, like for some reason, Hollow Knight, because all of the like when you're in one area, all the rooms look the same. It's really hard, unless you buy the map upgrades and all that stuff. Like it's really hard to know where to go and where like the secret rooms are and all that stuff. I found this game way easier to navigate. But here's the biggest thing for me was the change to get rid of the pogoing. And instead, the down attack is at an angle. For some reason, that is completely fucking me up.
Okay.
It is that one little change has caused me to die so many times when I'm expecting to be able to pogo an enemy, or not even an enemy, just like pogoing onto a platform, right? When you can't do that, when you're just like attacking to the side instead, it fucks me up. It's the hardest thing about the game for me so far.
All right. So the interesting thing about that diagonal attack is that's only specific to a couple of the different crests that you obtain throughout the course of the game, which in addition to the gadgets, it's also a different build type entirely. One of the specific ones that I was using was the Reaper crest, which is a full downward attack, much like in Hollow Knight, where it's kind of like a sweeping sort of thing, making Pogo intensely easier.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and I've been waiting to get to that point where that's an option for me. I don't want to say how many hours of the game that I have in, because I should be way farther than I am, considering how many hours I put into it. But, I will say that I just got for listeners who want to know how far I got, I basically, not very long ago, got the ability that lets you with the airstreams, where you basically like Marilyn Monroe up your her little bug dress or whatever and shoot up the airstreams.
Yeah, it's the feather something or other.
Yeah, the gliding thing or whatever. Yeah.
That's a wild thing that you've just described.
I don't know. I didn't know how else to describe it. It's the Princess Peach ability. It's so funny because I remember reading an article from shouldn't say the publication, but a gaming publication that said like, oh my gosh, this ability from Hollow Knight is so like, from a tech perspective, so like groundbreaking. I was like, Mario's been doing this since like Super Mario World 2 or whatever, when Peach was able to float with her dress. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, no, Kit watched me play a lot of this, and it's an exact mechanic from the game Gree that we've covered.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the floating dress thing.
Floating dress thing is what it shall be known.
Absolutely not. Yeah. It's absolutely not groundbreaking. That is lunacy. Whoever that publication is, put them on blast. I want to know.
I'm pretty sure it was Polygon.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Haven't been good since BDG left. No, I don't know. So one of the things... Okay, so this is described as a Metroidvania. This feels less like a Metroidvania than Hollow Knight. This feels much more linear than the previous installment, in a way that I can't like fully describe, because it is like you gain an ability and then you can get to this other part. It's just, I think you had more freedom of exploration in Hollow Knight than you do with this. So full disclosure, I have, technically speaking, beaten the game, but there's an additional act after you beat the game, provided that you complete like specific things. Like the final boss of the game is Grandmother Silk, and I've done that in now 2 different versions. One gives you like essentially a false ending, and one gives you this entire other third act where the entirety of the land that you've been exploring becomes infected, kind of like what they do halfway through Hollow Knight. It's just covers the entire area. Like there's a bunch of stuff that you can't access in the same way, and there's an entirely different final ending boss that you have to deal with. Did you deal with Lace at all, Lex? I think you're past that point. Yeah.
Yes, not too long ago.
Yeah, Lace becomes a much, 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 much more integral part of the game later on, which I
had a feeling.
Also, now we know what Hollow Knight 3 is going to be about.
Yeah, the character you play as in Hollow Knight 3, yeah.
I mean, she dies a couple times, so I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Well,
in fact, this is the one...
It's already baked in that she can die twice without dying.
Yeah, there's some lore stuff that's a little bit more complicated in this. I mean, in preparation for Silksong coming out, I watched an entire lore dump video of just the Hollow Knight alone, like by itself, and that was a 3-hour video.
Moss's video?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
It was like a full 3-hour breakdown of what the story of the White King and all of that. I'm like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, this does feel more linear overall, having now discovered all of... I'm actually at a point now where there's an entire biome that I haven't discovered that I'm not even sure where it is, because I've been trying to do this as much without doing guides or anything like that as I could. Yeah. There was a handful of things where I'm like, I don't understand where this specific power-up is. That was the only thing that I had to cross-reference. Because it's like this weird hidden thing above one of the biomes that, like, it's just not an intuitive thing to find. Which, like, that's a little frustrating in this one as well. I don't think some of that stuff is intuitive in a way that I feel Hollow Knight was. Like, Hollow Knight for sure did not hold your hand throughout.
No.
But with the exception of, like, just breakable walls and things like that, which for the most part was just, like, grubs or...
optional
like,
things, yeah.
Yeah, like, things that didn't actually matter that much. I feel like there's a lot more of that for, like, no good reason in this one. But I don't know. Like, so enemy types I think are more difficult on a surface level than in the previous ones. And there are ways to upgrade your needle, which I don't feel... When you would upgrade the nail in Hollow Knight, I felt like there was a very tangible increase in your power.
Oh, yeah,
and that
for sure.
Does not seem to be the case as much in this.
And it feels like they did that intentionally to make you play with the other systems that they spent so long working on.
Honestly, yes, I think you're right.
I think that, like, the way that I prefer to play these kinds of games is hit with big stick, and that's it. Like, Magic's for losers. Like, I want to hit with big stick. And so, yeah, that might be part of the reason why I'm struggling, because it's very obvious that they kind of wanted people to play with different build, and so they intentionally kind of nerfed the needle a little bit, which is bonkers because the needle's so OP when you're fighting.
Really, it is. And, like, the fact that, okay, so you had the soul thing in Hollow Knight. In this one, there's a silk system, which kind of...
Yes.
That's more or less your MP gauge, which I only really ever used for healing. Like, that was the only thing that really made sense to me to do. Like, I did rely a lot on gadgets. There are floor attacks, essentially, that you just throw out.
Yeah.
That just...
I've seen
anytime,
videos of that. You can just, like, super easily kill mobs of enemies just by throwing out the
rules.
Yeah.
I love that. Great in a boss fight, because you can even like prep an area for certain things of, like, I know they're gonna land in these spots, so I'm just gonna immediately throw some down. There's also little, like, robotic bugs that you can put out. You can put out 4 at a time.
Yeah,
that'll just constantly hit enemies, like, while you're doing other things.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but those don't cost like the MP system, but they cost the currency, like the scraps or whatever they're called, right?
Yeah, the shell pieces.
The shell pieces, yeah. Which is that was, like, different in this game than it was in Hollow Knight, where, like, you have 2 different, like, the rosaries is more so what
rosaries
you're using to
primary
spend.
Currency in terms of in shops, and then the shells. So on that note, the multiple currency thing didn't bother me too much, like, in comparison to Hollow Knight, only because rosaries being the thing that you primarily buy objects with, you can farm really easily in certain areas.
That's what I was gonna say. It would be more annoying if it wasn't so easy to farm. So it didn't feel too bad when you died with a bunch of rosaries and you died again and you didn't get them back. It wasn't as like punishing, it felt like to me. But
currency was never really scarce, and with the shell pieces, it is more of just an optional thing of, like, how stocked do you want to have your gadgets at any given point in time. And it would really only be, like, pre-boss fight. Like, I would go back and, like, all right, definitely going to need as many gadgets at my disposal for this particular one. Boss fight wise, there are fewer compulsory bosses, I think, in this as well. But a ridiculous amount of optional boss fights.
Yeah. There's no indication of, like, what is an optional and what's not optional. So, like, that's also another thing that was kind of that was kind of frustrating to me is, like, I would finish a boss fight and be really excited for that upgrade that I knew for a fact it was going to give me. And then it was like, here's some rosaries. It's like, fuck you, game. I beat a boss. Honestly, I should be getting an upgrade. It's like, no, you beat an optional boss. That's different.
I mean, the optional bosses are where you get a lot of the upgrades, but they're optional upgrades. Like,
right.
In the area that I was referencing before, like, you can get a thing where you, like, it's a gadget where you can have, like, essentially like a fire sprite sort of thing that does the same thing as the robotic ones. It's just also does fire damage. But that's an entire biome dedicated to just getting this specific upgrade that you don't need. Yeah, because of the linear nature, or comparatively linear nature, it just felt like there was less boss fights, but so much more just optional things to do. In the Citadel alone, there's like multiple quest lines that you can take on that like you can just skip entirely if you're only concerned with beating the game. In fact, the current world record as of this recording to beat the game on any completion is under an hour.
Wow. That's crazy.
To 100% the game, it's just shy of 4 hours. Getting to boss fights tends to be the most difficult part. Shea, you haven't experienced the fast travel system just yet, right? The replacement for the Beetle highway thing? The Stag highway, rather?
No, I haven't gotten to fast travel system.
Well, the real dick move in this game, not only do they not give you that fast travel system right away, you have to fight the thing that is the fast travel system before you can access the fast travel system. And it's not like an easy boss fight either.
No, I died many times to that dog.
But that guy is my best friend now.
He's the best. It's the best, but yeah.
Do you want a spoiler? I'll give you a spoiler.
Sure, I'm ready. Hit me with that spoiler.
It has babies.
Oh, that's amazing.
And those babies, you can play...
The big question.
Yeah.
Does it eat those babies?
Yeah.
It does not eat the babies. Markedly less dark stuff when it comes to the side quest stuff. Like, sad things, but not, like, disturbing stuff, like in the first game. When your buddy has babies, you can play a song on the needle-in from almost anywhere on the map, and it will transport you instantly to a fast travel point. It's the greatest.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but that's amazing. All third act nonsense.
And they don't give it to you until the third act, which is, great.
Yeah.
Which doesn't exist unless you do a boss fight a certain way. So
yeah. You kind of get tricked into some by some religious zealots into how the third act occurs. Like the chain of events in order to access the third act is bothersome. So in addition to those, there's a different type of ending. That's
religious zealots for you.
Always.
Always
they're
extending
coming for your money or your time. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
There's an additional third type of ending in this game where if you do a certain quest line, you get infected by like plant matter and it completely drains your silk. You no longer have silk for the remainder of the game. If you choose to do that, you can have it surgically removed by an insect surgeon because, why not?
Why not?
But you can complete the game with this infestation, and that leads to an entirely different ending, which I think is interesting. I don't know. I think there are more options in this overall, but I'm having trouble deciding whether or not that made for a better experience altogether. I don't know. Is there any other specific points that anybody wants to bring up before we start doing pros and cons and things?
By anyone, he means you, Lance.
Oh, Shea, I was waiting for you to...
Doc, I got nothing to talk about in this game.
The bulk of Shea is going to be pros and cons, and it's okay.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I think you've covered... I mean, and like, we're riffing on Shea a little bit, but honestly, I did not make it that much farther than Shea did. To be...
You are 2 biomes ahead. Yeah, no, it's... It should be noted that this map is so much fucking bigger too, by the way.
It is huge.
Compared
it
to...
is huge, yeah. It's not as overwhelming to me for some reason as the Hollow Knight map was. I don't know why. But...
I'd actually love for you to expound on what that reason is, because I get lost fucking all the time.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it is... So just like in Hollow Knight, like you start off in the starting area, obviously, and then you make your way to different areas, expanding the map. So it's not like you see it all at once, like some games do. But I think that they give you the ladybug. She's not a ladybug. She's a bug that's a lady that sells you the maps. I feel like she's not a ladybug. What's her name?
She's
Dan?
Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah, Xena Warrior Princess. The bug.
It's Francis.
Yeah,
actually,
Francis
from
A Bug's Life. How amazing would that be? But yeah, so you can basically picture that. I feel like you don't have to go hunting for her as much as you did in the librarian nerd bug in Hollow Knight. She's just kind of there as soon as you explore. Yeah.
Chakra is... Well, okay. The downside to Chakra is if you miss her, like, and you don't get the map pretty much immediately when you find her in a biome, you have to wait until about halfway to the Citadel before you can access her static shock. Sorry, not static shock. Her static shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't see as a problem because she stays there. I mean, I at least for me, it wasn't a problem because like you find her immediately, and I knew that I was going to need those maps. So I farmed the rosaries I needed right then and there. Didn't let her leave. Just bought them immediately. So as long as you know that going into that, like it wasn't an issue. But I could see how someone who, like you said, the game doesn't hold your hand. So you might think, oh, I'll come back later for that map because I can't afford it now. And then her not being there, that would be a bummer for sure. Pretty big.
Yeah, unless you're a speedrunner, it's a good couple of hours depending on the biome before you would run into her again. I mean, it all depends on your ability to retain certain pieces of information. I mean, I do think that there are parts of this that are very loopy and brutal in terms of like, honestly, Shea, where you're at in the Marrow is one of the more difficult areas to kind of like piece together. Because everything looks very
we don't have to
No. It's actually one of my biggest cons.
We don't have to do this.
I know. It sounds super fucking patronizing, but it's true.
I promise you, I'm being honest about this. Let's actually, let's get into pros and cons.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to start with that specifically. As much as there's a bigger variety of biomes, I do feel like the actual areas themselves are so samey that without a map, it does kind of get confusing. The Marrow specifically is one of the worst because it's just this gray palette throughout with a bunch of platforms that some lead to nowhere. It does get very frustrating.
It feels like the main area in Hollow Knight to me. Like the green path where it's just like, or not the green path, the other main part, but where it's just like every room is the same. And like, how do I find anything, you know?
So the deep docks is a little bit easier to navigate just because there are like actual structures that you can kind of point to, but like in Hunter's March and Farfields, like it's all just everything kind of looks the same. It's if it's just a straight up biome where it's just grass or stone or whatever, it does become much more confusing than I feel the first one was. In the first one, as much as the biomes were like, this is clearly where you are, either based on the enemy types or like pools of water or whatever, like you could kind of figure out around where you were. It doesn't feel that way in this. Like Greymoor is easy because it's actual buildings. Citadel's easy because it's actual buildings, comparatively speaking. There are some that are like very small, but I got completely lost in an area called Bilewater because you couldn't get the map for a long time, so you had to traverse around it blind for way too long because it was something that was reliant on you having the double jump to even get to where Chakra was to sell you the map. And like
that sucks.
It is that frustrating thing like in the first one where you can like, rather than just hearing the map maker like whistling and stuff in the first one, you can only tell that you're kind of close to where Chakra is by the golden rings that she has around, where it's like she was in a battle. That's it. Like it's way less obvious. So traversal overall is one of the harder things about this, despite the fact that like it's kind of a 50-50. Like I don't think the platforming itself was as difficult as figuring out where the hell you were, even with a map sometimes. Like until you really have the muscle memory built in, which in a lot of cases requires dying a bunch and then just retracing your steps. Like I don't know that this it doesn't feel as intuitive overall. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know why that is? Dan and Team Cherry? It's because your game has been out for 8 years and most people beat it in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I talked about this already. all of the muscle memory that I have for this game is completely gone. Yeah. And I realize that that's a skill issue for sure. But at the same time, like, I am so discouraged by the first, I would say probably hour and a half's worth of gameplay. I think it was about 4 hours for me, but the first hour and a half's worth of intended gameplay, I was so discouraged by it that I did not want to play it again. Yeah. Like I was so frustrated by the fact that I knew how to beat this game and I couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? And it's because like I knew how to play Hollow Knight, and I'm not playing Hollow Knight anymore because it's 8 years ago and I don't have those like that fast switch reaction shit that I developed playing Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
I don't know that this is a fair critique for such a small team, but I think that a huge con is that it's 8 years between the first and the second game, you know?
It's almost like they needed to have a question at the begining, like, how recently did you play Hollow Knight or something like that? Like,
and if it falls within a certain threshold, go replay
it. It's like the darkness slider. It's like the darkness slider, and not even let's necessarily go replay it, but just like if it's more than a couple of years ago or whatever, then have things that hold your hand a little bit more, like optionally turned on or off, right? Like for accessibility purposes, I just feel like this game could probably, and I know that people are like, just get good, and like these are supposed to be like Dark Soul-esque games, you know, like
they're supposed to be difficult, for sure.
Yeah, and I get that, but also like some of us want to enjoy the story. Like a lot of games are starting to do that, right? Like allow you to put like story mode on, basically, right? Where like it makes the game a little bit easier to navigate and get through.
You can't lose this fight. You're just here to experience the story. Like,
and you know,
that's not for every game.
Yeah, and maybe that's not supposed to be for this game, and that's fine if you believe that. But I am probably going to continue to bang my head against the wall in this game and eventually try to get my way through it. But I just wish that it had more of those kind of options. I think that would go a long way.
See, I don't even know how much replaying the original game would help, because
honestly, I think it would hurt you. Yes, I think they control
very differently.
And it goes to that whole thing with me. Like I played Hollow Knight for a little bit in anticipation of this, and the fact that I kept thinking I could pogo when I couldn't, and I kept dying because of it, it actually hurt me as opposed to helped me. You know, I don't know. I'm not saying
feels like an intentional
every
move.
Game needs a... Yeah, for sure.
Like, because again, there is a downward attack with one of the crests specifically that like makes it feel more like that, but that's so deep into the game. I mean, it's maybe like a quarter in to like the full map to where you can get that, but it's also a completely optional thing that you do not have to engage with if you do not feel like it.
Dan, so, how do you feel? So in a game like this, in Metroidvania games, I think that it's very important for games to get the timing of the upgrades right. And I want to know how you feel about how they doled that stuff out and the progression of the things that you got in terms of the pace of the game. Do you think that they did a good job with that?
No, I don't, only because, again, it felt, because of the linear nature, the way this feels. Like, it's not like, I hate to continuously compare it, but like, I feel like there was almost a formula perfected in Hollow Knight in terms of like, you would get to a roadblock, you would know exactly, just if you've ever played a game of this nature, this is the thing I'm looking for, whether it's a double jump, a wall hang sort of thing. Like, there was so much less of that specific type of thing.
Yeah.
Where like you knew you would have to go back to progress in that direction. That it felt formulaic, but at the same time anomalous in a way that there are workarounds for so much of this, which is why you can get through it like in a speed run in 59 minutes.
Can I stop you there, Dan? Actually, because hearing the two of you talk about this game, it seems like they leaned into like RPG mechanics, which is such a genre mismatch for this shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
A little bit.
Like, and obviously I'm not very far in the game, so I have no room to talk on an experience of it, but it feels like you have to change fundamentally what this game is to incorporate RPG mechanics into it. And it just seems like a weird move to make.
I feel like they had to make some sort of move like that, or else it would have just been
I don't think they did.
But or else
I really don't think that they did.
I'm not saying they had to do this specifically, but I'm saying they had to do something like that, because otherwise it was like, why did this game take 6 years to come out?
Hollow Knight again.
Exactly. It's like
No. I mean, I get that. I get that for sure. Yeah. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have changed it at all, but RPG is such a weird way to go.
I think it's such a dramatic shift in what the gameplay is. Like, it kind of is its own thing. Like, and that's why
it feels like it came out clunky.
Well, so there's still I mean, this is one of the fastest reviews we've put out, like in terms of release to review. So they're still putting in bugs. They're still they're still putting in patches. They're still.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I don't mean technically clunky. I mean just like.
No, but there are things that are still technically clunky.
I'm sure.
Like,
yeah. Mechanically clunky. Yeah. It's just things that don't make sense. Like it doesn't really make sense to marry Metroidvanias with RPGs in my mind. I'm sure there's a way to do
how it's done. Like, so Rogue Legacy, there's a lot of RPG elements in that. Sure. But it doesn't fundamentally change the way that you play it. It's just the way that you tackle specific things. With this, like, having that in comparison to Hollow Knight, which is on the surface level, very similar game. It's just the way that you have to play it completely alters. And like, that comes down to the emblems that you attach to your crests, the gadgets you decide to go with, the crests themselves, and like the attacks alone between the different crests are wildly different. Like, even in range, like there are ones that you can stand way back and hit them with the nail, or there's ones where you have to like get really tight in and it's like little slashes. The amount of options they give you ultimately hurt the overall experience if what you think is the perfect version of this is Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
It's not to say it's a bad game, because it's not a bad game by any stretch. It's just, for what I thought was going to be a kind of one-to-one sequel, it is absolutely not. And it's kind of in all areas. Like, you went from a silent protagonist to somebody who talks to everybody and like has things to say. And like that doesn't seem like it would be a big change, but in some aspects, like, it absolutely is. Like, it just, everything about this is different enough that it might as well have been its own game, unattached. You're just continuing lore in an entirely different setting, in an entirely different game. In some cases, like, some of the fundamentals are still there. Like, the platforming itself isn't drastically different until you get to those things like pogoing, like how those upgrades are doled out, which it's just more formulaic. It's less freedom, more options, which doesn't compute in my brain.
Yeah, it's such like an oxymoron, right?
Right.
It's so hard to put your finger on like what's wrong with that, but I think that's a perfect way to describe it, is like, by putting more options in and also like spreading out your ability to obtain those options, they have made it a way much more restricting game.
There's a traversal tool that you get in the third act that fundamentally changes how everything else gets done.
No. I don't like that.
But
you should not be giving me traversal tools in the third act of your video game. I'm sorry, but you should not.
The tool, I'll tell you what the tool is, and you're immediately going to be able to apply why it's different.
Yeah.
You throw the needle just straight up into the air, it sticks to something, and then you fucking Spider-Man up.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
Yeah.
In a way that's
way too long. See, I feel like if they would have given us that early on in the game, this would be game of the year for me. like I get that they need to like dole those out and, and like make certain areas only accessible by that. And like, it's very, I'm sure that they had their reasons for doing things the way that they did. And I don't want to sit here and claim that I'm smarter than them or anything like that, because I'm obviously not. But I just feel like it just is taking me way too long to get to the fun mechanics of this game.
Well, the thing is, like, it has a practical use if you got it in a certain area of the game. Like, there are certain parts of this that it would have been much more helpful. By the time you get it, you've already explored 80% of the map, and now it's only for finding additional hidden content or upgrades that are not technically necessary or stuff like that. It's not. It fundamentally changes your traversal at a time where it no longer matters.
That makes me so sad.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there are specific areas where there are like big columns where like it would be great if like you could then like, okay, now I can do this much easier than I could. But you've already beaten the game technically by the time that happens. It doesn't. I don't get it. It's not unlike the Crystal Rush thing that you get. Mm-hmm. What, 60%, 75% into Hollow Knight, where it's like you just blast across the screen horizontally. It's that, but vertical, and it doesn't matter anymore.
And it gave you it after you're done with most of the game. Like, at least with the Crystal Blast thing, like, you still had quite a bit of left of the game to progress. And it felt like
now you
really
just learn how to use that in specific areas to get to other areas.
Yeah.
That's how a Metroidvania is supposed to function. Yes. This kind of doesn't do that. Like,
they kind of
get the wall jump so early. It doesn't even give you the time to experience what Hollow Knight did, where it's like, okay, I've logged in my brain that like this area, and this area all have that, where it's just out of reach. There are 2 parallel walls. I can't jump up. Mm-hmm. Overall, there's not that. Like, you come across the win columns, like you were talking, the poof dress, floaty thing. Mm-hmm. You find it in that area, and then it's just a thing you have. You're not going back like you would in a Metroidvania to be like, okay, I saw those earlier. Now I can do that. Like, there's a built-in excitement to that in a Metroidvania that I did not experience in this.
Right.
So that's a con.
I was gonna say, does anybody have any pros?
I mean,
I'd say. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You start just because you're earlier on. So I am very curious where your pros are currently.
Yeah, the game's $20. That's a pretty crazy thing in this day and age, you know.
You're not wrong. Launch at 20 for something that was this anticipated is unheard of.
It's a very affordable experience, which is what this podcast is all about. Mm-hmm. So in that regards, it's awesome. I think that they also did it. What's that called? The DCMA? Is that what I'm thinking of? DRM free. I think that's a really cool move by Team Cherry.
Very much so.
Okay, so that's not talking about the game itself. I just want to took a second to applaud that, like, Team Cherry took their time to make the game the way they wanted to make it. They released it when the game was finished. It wasn't broken at launch. It was $20, DRM free. I think all of that is to be applauded. They listened to feedback as well when people talked about how hard it was. They released a patch pretty quickly, changing a few things to make it a little bit easier, apparently,
and have continued to do so. Like, it is a very interactive experience, which I do think is a pro, because I think all of us have experienced. How long did it take them to fix Cyberpunk to the point where it was, like,
I was so glad you could bring that up. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
too long.
Hey, just real quick. Sorry, real quick. What were those things that they made easier?
They revamped the rosary system, right? Where
rosary system hitboxes, benches, I think, were adjusted.
Yes.
My hitbox seems to be fucking huge in that game.
Well, okay. So also I wanted to talk about this, and maybe I'm just crazy, Dan. Hopefully you can. I am crazy, but that's beside the point. I feel like the iframes work differently in this game than in Hollow Knight, and that's the other thing that was kind of killing me is I would get hit in Hollow Knight and expect a certain level of invincibility that I'm not getting in this at all. I just, like, immediately Oh, that was the other thing, right? Like bosses could one-shot you. They like would hit twice basically, and they got rid of that in the patches.
So they've made adjustments. They didn't get rid of it. They've just made adjustments.
They've tweaked it so some bosses like their hits don't do double the damage, right? Something like that.
Well, in a very RPG way, like there's
yeah,
kind of sort of an armor system that you don't have access to. Like, okay, for what has so many RPG elements, there's no way to tell how much damage you're doing. You never know with certain gadgets, like how many hit points you're taking off of enemies, how many overall hits, like adjustments that you're making do, which is why, like I even said, like when you upgrade the nail, there's a tangible difference that you feel immediately. There are micro adjustments throughout Silksong that like I can't really figure out like how much more or less damage I'm doing at any given time, or how much damage I'm taking.
Could you imagine like a mod that someone makes that like is like a World of Warcraft HUD like for this game where it's just like all these numbers and symbols and shit just like all over the place every time you hit something. Oh,
the
man,
sad thing is that the nerds online have already done math
I'm
kind
sure.
of figure out what
Figure
different
all that
gadgets
stuff out.
do and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they nerfed a bunch of them, changed what the attack levels were. And so they had to start all fucking over.
Yeah.
Because that's like, as much as it's great that they are doing as many patches as they are and they have been listening, they're making adjustments to stuff that you don't fully understand anyway without like complicated spreadsheets. And then those people are just like, well,
which all of us have.
Of course.
All of us have these, right?
Of course. I mean, okay, so pros. Lore stuff is still really cool. Like the amount of thought that they put into
the story's phenomenal so far that I've come across. Yeah.
Characters are still really interesting. Boss fights are still really interesting. Learning motivations and learning how like this world works is still one of the strongest parts of this. Like this ends up getting really deep, and there are so many side quests. I had explained to Shea like one of them prior to recording, where there's a whole love story thing that you can technically choose to do a star-crossed lover type ending by just killing this dude in his brain that is fully optional. It's, I mean, again, third act stuff, but there's a character named the Green Prince that you come across maybe halfway through the actual game that once you release him from a cage, you just find him in different areas of the map and he gives you like a little lore dump and then you just fuck off. Then you find him again and he just explains what his whole deal is and then you can kill him, which is kind of what he wants. The level of detail is still very impressive, and that's one of the things that absolutely carried over from the original game. Like, there's some heartbreaking stuff in this overall.
Yeah.
For as simplistic as a bunch of the other stuff is really impressive to me.
I'm not really sure why, but I really love a please kill me boss.
Oh, right?
It's great.
I don't get it. I don't get why I enjoy that so much, but it's the please kill me, but I'm also not going to make it easy for you. I really enjoy that in a game.
Yeah. I
don't know why.
Fully agree.
It's a deeply flawed personality trait of mine, I think. But
yeah, we're psychopaths. That's probably why. No, I mean that's what made the Hollow Knight boss fight so interesting. You know, Team Cherry's so good at that stuff of just like really, you know, making you think, are we the baddies type of thing? Like, are we doing this?
Yeah.
What our motives are? I think this game just
sure.
has all the heart that Hollow Knight does, you know, despite all this, you know, shit that we've been, you know, ragging on the game for. Yeah, I think that it's like Shea said, it's a skill issue. I think if you get feedback up on this comment that talks about how much Lex and Shea suck at video games, I think that's totally fair.
That's correct. Yeah.
There's no argument from
but
us.
hey, Lex, we do have a system for throwing shit.
Yeah.
It's our 10-point rating system.
Let's do it.
And if you guys don't have any more pros and cons, let's dive right in.
I think most of it's going to come out in this. And you're right. I feel like we have shit on this, but I think because our experience with Hollow Knight was so positive, it's two different playing fields, and it's hard not to compare the two. Where they're just not the same.
You have to. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, so our first, for those of you who are new to the show, crazy that you're jumping in episode 90, but our 10-point rating system on our B&G Classic episodes is a 5 questions, each worth 1 point, and then we have a big 5-point question at the end. We'll run through each one at a time, get everybody's score, and then an overall score at the end. So, the first question, does it work?
Yeah.
Lex, we'll start with you.
I think, like we talked about a little bit ago, like mechanically it works. It works. It 100% does for me. I did not run into a single game breaking bug in the many hours that I've put into it. Now, I haven't gotten that far. Maybe Dan has ran into some more than I have, but I think it works. Yeah.
It does the thing that it sets out to do. Like,
yeah.
Learning it is a different story in some cases, but like the buttons do what the buttons say they're supposed to do. So like from that perspective, yes, it is a full point. That feels so half-hearted, but like it genuinely
Shea, like I want to hear Shay's argument for why we shouldn't give this a full point. If Shea does have an argument.
So honestly I don't know. I'm going to give it I think I'm going to give it a full point. A full point here.
Right. Okay.
I think I'm going to give it a full point. Yeah. No, I'm going to give it a half.
Okay.
Give it a half.
Okay, were you experiencing
I know part of it is a
anything
skill
that
issue.
Like felt like lag or
Yes.
You had
what did you
yes.
what did you guys play this on?
PlayStation 5.
Oh, this is definitely that's a good point to make here. I think this may have been a hardware issue in addition to a skill issue. I want to be clear about that. Yeah. But I played it on PS4. What about you, Lex?
I played on the first edition Switch, so yeah, I don't know. I don't see that. They're very similar systems, so I think the PS4 is probably more capable than the first generation Switch is. But
yeah, it really did not feel that way.
Yeah, interesting.
I'd be interested to try it on the 4 and see if I experience any sort of differences.
Did you turn ray tracing off? Just kidding.
That's fucked.
Anyway,
I love it.
I had a lot of trouble with jumping and attacking at the same time. Like air attacks were a big fucking issue for me. Lex scoffs because I assume that's what ray tracing is.
No, it's not.
I have no idea what that is.
You need not concern yourself with that.
Yes. Oh man.
And the hitbox, I think, was a big issue for me. It seemed like enemy hitboxes were a lot smaller than mine was, and I feel like I made the same complaint about Hollow Knight. It's lost in the annals of history, so no one will ever know.
Yeah,
but
no way to tell.
yeah, couldn't dig that up. But I don't know. I just felt like I was hitting a bug on a horn that it was wearing on a skull on its head, and it was just like, no, that's not a hit. But if that horn hits you, you're fucked. So I don't know. Again, part of it's a skill issue, but I also did have a lot of trouble jumping and attacking at the same time. Also, I couldn't get a down attack to work. So
okay,
I don't know what you're talking about with that shit.
No, I think we're talking about the same thing. Like the down attack. It's not a down attack. It's a diagonal attack. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
it's
no,
craziness.
Lex, what I'm saying is that I did not attack in a downward direction even one time while I was playing.
Right on.
Because okay,
diagonally or straight.
Interesting.
Did not happen. Did not happen for me. Up attack also didn't work great for me. Again, I'm sure it's a skill issue.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I am the best Metroidvania player ever in the world, and you should listen to these critiques of controls.
Shea,
I'm sure half of it has to be skill.
I'm starting to think that your game actually is bugged. I'm starting to think that like the inputs weren't like going in correctly.
Listen, I'll be honest with you, not to make excuses, but I got to imagine that the PS4 version of this game was not top priority for them.
It's very possible.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I
can't.
Anyway, that's enough about that. That's enough about
yeah,
that. I'll stop.
I'm curious to
complaining
try
about
the difference.
This
to be honest, like I really
shitty
do
console that's 8 years out of date.
Check it out.
They only made it for the PS4 because they started building the game on the same engine that the
Probably
PS4
true.
was like peak.
Oh man.
All right.
Okay, half point.
Up next, is it engaging?
Yes. I mean, I know. Sorry, Lex.
Oh yeah, I you took the word right out of my mouth. I say yes as well. Full point for me.
The world itself is super interesting. The characters are super interesting, and it is one of those kind of games where like you don't have to pay attention to the lore. You can just be in it for the gameplay if this is the type of gameplay that you like. But for those that want to dig into it, there are people that make multi-hour lore dumps about this kind of thing. So, yeah, no, it's a full point.
Yeah, I think it's also a full point. While I am ultimately disappointed the distance between lore-based events, I still think that I definitely want to know more about this world. Even though you kind of start this game at like a different point that you start Hollow Knight. Mm-hmm. Right? Like Hollow Knight, you're just like, what the fuck is going on about anything that I'm seeing right now? Part of that is already explained in Silksong, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's obviously a follow-up. But I am still very much interested in like new dynamics and like new adaptations to the world that the NPCs are making to survive. And it's just very interesting to me to traverse and meet characters. Yeah. So I am also giving it a full point. Next, does it look good?
I mean, if we gave the point to Hollow Knight, I think we got to give it to here. It looks just as good, if not better, in my opinion. Hollow Knight does. Although I will say, I don't. Maybe I just haven't gotten to this point, but my favorite biome in Hollow Knight was the City of Tears. Dan, can you spoil it if there's anything that comes close to the City of Tears in this one?
Greymoor is very similar.
Okay.
Where it's I mean, there's nothing that's like a 1-to-1 to the City of Tears, sure. But like there are things that are reminiscent. Greymoor specifically,
cool.
Color palette, like rundown buildings, like that kind of thing. You definitely get that similar vibe in certain areas.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, no, I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's a full point for me as well. This has such a distinct art style that they did not stray from. The interesting way to make these characters look the way they are and still kind of be reminiscent of real world bugs, I think is really cool, which is a huge benefit of the first one as well. No, this looks great. No complaints.
I think I'm going to give it a half. No, I'm going to drop it down. I'm not going to give it a point there.
Whoa, why?
That's crazy.
Yeah, no. Gather round, my children.
Yeah.
In Hollow Knight, and again, we've talked ad nauseum at this point about how the two are different games, right? But they are the same studio, and they went with the same art style. In Hollow Knight, I could tell where the fuck I was in an area just by looking at the detail on the platforms I was jumping on, right? There was different skull arrangements or no skull arrangements or grass or neon plants or whatever was going on. I could tell where I was. Like, I could tell that I'd been through a room before because of the detail on the bottoms of the platform. In Silksong, I got no fucking clue at all. Everything looks the same.
Wow. My experience
is
completely opposite.
Well,
but
listen. Listen. This is a 0 with an asterisk because obviously I haven't made it fucking far enough in the game to know any better. But I have gotten lost and died so many times because I thought I was going one direction and then discovered I was in another room altogether. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was easier to know where you were in Hollow Knight because they had more detail in the things that you're not looking at. Does that make sense?
Yes. For one, they had the like a pretty fleshed out sign system, even if they didn't explain it, that was more prevalent, I think, overall. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The things that you could break in Silksong are much less useful.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Just I mean, and like I like for real, Marrow is the worst when it comes to that.
Oh, it
specific
sucks,
thing.
man. Honestly, I feel like I come into every room and there's a spike pit in the same spot every room.
There's an extreme lack of landmarks overall that I can't argue with.
And again, I want to stress that this is a number that may change in the future if I were to give Silksong a shot again. I'm so angry at it right now that I'm leaning towards no, but I know that I should. And this is like the number that I think is like, this could be a 0 or a 1.5, to be honest with you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So we don't do that though, so I'm going to give it a 0.
All right.
Right now. But yeah, that one I think could be something that changes pretty easily. Anyways, is there replayability?
So I'm gonna not give this a point.
Dang,
I
okay.
think that my biggest issue with replayability is how linear this was in comparison. I don't feel like there's as much experimentation in terms of how to tackle the overall game. Anything with experimentation is literally just maybe an easier way to take on an enemy. Like, that's your big difference. It's not in how you tackle the world as a whole. And I think that's the biggest gap between the two games for me. So for this, I can't in good conscience. Like, I would play this again.
Yeah.
That's not really what this question is about.
No.
It's the compulsory, like, I want to experience all of this again. Because I know that a replay is just going to be retracing steps almost in the exact same way. I can't give it a point.
I agree 100% wholeheartedly. I'm not as far as Dan is, obviously, but I could tell almost immediately when I started playing Hollow Knight, after I like beat maybe the first or second boss, I was like, man, I can't wait to wait a few years until my shitty memory fades, and so I can like re-experience this again. And that's exactly what I did in preparation for this game, and it was amazing. And I am just not feeling that way at all about this one. So yeah, that's gonna be a no for me too.
Well, I think we all know that I'm at 0 on this one. Let's just move on. We don't need to discuss. Is there a story?
There is definitely a story.
Yeah.
This
has been a tricky question over the years.
Yeah. Well, so
and I think it actually comes into full focus in this game.
We've tackled this subjectively, we've tackled this objectively. I think with this, like, this is the kind of game that you can get out of it what you want to get out of it. You can skip dialogue if you want to. If none of the lore stuff matters to you, that is absolutely valid. Because I'm invested in this franchise, and I think that like some of the stuff they've done is so interesting. What's cool about this in comparison, the Hollow Knight is not the interesting part of Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Whereas with Hornet, like, there's a lot of character there. You're already familiar with her if you've played the original. You know what her backstory is. You know what, like, having to balance this thing between being a bug and being a spider, which is batshit, like, truly matters in this game in a way that, like, if you feel like digging into it, you can, but you don't have to. It's really weird, but it's gonna be a full point just because, like, there's so much to learn about, and it's not in that Fallout way of like you just come across lore dump pages of
audio
pages.
Stumbling across.
Yeah.
Like, this is actual interaction and like putting pieces together of like, oh, this is this way because of this thing that this guy said, kind of passively. It makes you work for it in a way that I think is actually kind of cool in some cases.
Lex?
And I think that you could make the case that this one has an even stronger story than Hollow Knight did, because in Hollow Knight you really had to dig a lot more for it, because like you said, the knight doesn't talk. There's no like dialogue, back and forth. And so really you have to dig for that story of like why you're there, what you're doing, what the goal is. Even after you finish the game, you're like, so what the fuck did I just do? Like, you have to go watch a lore video. This one is a lot more straightforward in terms of, you know exactly who you are. what you're trying to do, what you're trying to get to, the characters along your way you're talking to, and you're getting the story through that. There's no like exposition cutscenes, but there's enough of like the story through dialogue and through background stuff that shines through for sure. So it's a point for me.
I want to get ahead of this real quick, just in case a bunch of people stumble upon this, just because it is kind of really in the zeitgeist right now. I know that the character that you play in the Hollow Knight is not the Hollow Knight. I know.
I was gonna say something. I was going to correct you, but I that's why I said it myself. That's the way that I did. But,
just fully rage baiting people.
I didn't want to. Actually, you don't play as the Hollow Knight. Yeah, no, shut up. We know.
Don't come for me in the comments. I know. Yeah. All right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Shea, it's Shea. Yeah. What do you got?
I'm going to give it a 0.5.
All
right.
A
half point for all of the reasons that Lex just said.
Sure.
The first one was better because you didn't speak, and I don't know.
You liked the mystery a little bit more. You liked it that it was.
Well, so I do enjoy that. Like you get story from like uncovering it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
environmental storytelling.
Yeah. Dan and I talked about this, I don't think last episode, but maybe the episode before that. But like, I read every book in Skyrim because I'm trying to absorb everything that I can about that shit.
Because you're broken inside.
Well, listen, these are two different points that we're making now.
Yeah, fair, sure.
But I want to learn about where I'm at because I'm not there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in Hollow Knight, you felt much more like a silent protagonist. In Hornet, you feel like much more of an amateur because you don't know what's going on, and Hornet does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
She's not maybe familiar with where she's at now, but she is definitely a resident of the world, and she knows that she's on a pilgrimage now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Hollow Knight, it felt much more like, what am I doing? Why am I here? What is my objective?
Yeah.
Kind of a
You're
thing.
discovering the world with the knight. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, even the beginnings of the game, like the beginning of both of these games is so much different because like you're in progress of a thing. You just don't know why it's that.
Right.
Whereas like Hollow Knight, you're such a blank slate of like, you just get dropped in fully.
Exactly. And I the reason I'm giving it a half and not a 0 is because of the character, like the characters you meet along the way. Yeah. You know, like the just random villager or random pilgrims, I guess.
The singing. That person.
I wouldn't know. I guarantee you I haven't gotten to that part.
So, I mean, this might be one that ends up changing down. This is one that I think we should set a timer and revisit if Shea decides to continue. But there's this extra thing that you can do. So you with your needle, you can turn it into a musical instrument. It's called the needlein.
Another RPG element. It's making your fighter into a bard.
It's very Zelda in a certain way because you can just start playing your needlein and basically every NPC in the game will just start singing along.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really sick.
And like they'll give backstory stuff that you didn't know about and wouldn't have known about, and it's fully like a trial and error thing. Like it's really, really neat. There are ghosts that are all over the place. Like you can play it around a corpse that you find.
We've gone too far.
Okay,
we've gone too far now.
Great.
Yeah, that's too much.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So our final 5-point question: is it worth the cost?
So, Hollow Knight Silksong retails at $19.99 across the board. It launched at $19.99, which for a brand new game, especially with this amount of hype around it, is practically unheard of. Lex, how do you think that weighs?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the most shocking thing to me about this game. They could have they could have made like this a first-person shooter, like bullet hell, and that would have been less shocking to me than this game retailing at $20. Like that was truly, truly wild to me. Like with the success that Hollow Knight had, and like Team Cherry knew full well they could set this price to whatever they wanted to, and people would buy it. And
Absolutely,
the fact that they still came out and said, nope, we know what we're worth. We know what this game is. We want to make this game accessible. And the DRM stuff we talked about earlier, like making it DRM free, I think just like you got, in my eyes, you have to support a team like that. I am willing to pay a little bit more than I normally would for video games to support a team like that. That all being said, I think the amount of content in this game and the quality of the game, even without thinking about that other stuff, this is still worth the full points for me, because $20 is it's still an incredible game that you get for $20 and plenty of shelf life on it, even if it's not as replayable as Hollow Knight is.
Dan?
All right, so I just looked it up, and I have logged, and still haven't completely beaten this, 153 hours.
Holy shit, dude.
All right. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. This is 5 points. I've gotten, I mean, for $20 to be this engaged, to have this much gameplay. Like, I have compulsory habits when it comes to video gaming anyway. Like, I do want to get all the upgrades. I do want to be able to, like, experience as much as I can. This is so much bang for your buck. Once you kind of cross a certain threshold, it's insane not to, for me specifically, to not give this 5 points. Like, this is, it's so good. Shea?
Are we done gushing?
Yeah, you can unplug your ears.
No, I'm gonna give it 5 points also. Just in the sense that it's a fully fleshed out game that's not $70 because the video game industry decided that we're just going to pay more for video games now.
Crazy.
So I'm going to give it 5 points just as I've been playing the Outer Worlds, so I've been in a real fuck you capitalism mood.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, 5 points for this game for being $20 and at the very least 20 hours, which is kind of our unofficial metric for like, did you get enough hours out of it?
Yeah. I mean, I've played multiple games in the last few months that total runtime is like 4 or 5 hours, and I still love them, but this is like such a
$40 for that.
Right. You know? All right, well, that's gonna put our final scores for today. Both Lex and I 9 points, Shea 7 points. Still very good scores across the board, but most importantly, would you recommend this to somebody? Either at this price, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer, depending on the type of player that you're talking to, but
yeah, that's the thing.
That makes it difficult because it is such a taste-based kind of thing,
and it's harder. That's the problem, is that it's harder for me to recommend, because with Hollow Knight, I could say to people, like I said to Shea, like, oh, I'm terrible at action platformers and Metrovanias. I still love this game. You should try it. I cannot say that about this game at all.
It is a steeper learning curve for sure.
Yeah. And it's hard because I want to say, like, oh, you should try Hollow Knight first, and then if you really love it, then try Silksong. But then I think that hurts your ability to play Silksong
back to back,
because you get so used to. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a hard thing to recommend.
There's almost no way that at some point they won't release like a collector's edition of both of these games together. And I wonder if they end up making any sort of adjustments to kind of meet in the middle with either of them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But that's pure speculation on my part. I mean, I'm in a similar boat because it's so specific. It's such a specific type of game. It's not unlike roguelikes. Like, there are people that just can't get behind the type of game that this is. And 2D platformers like are making a pretty decent comeback. Like, there've been so many good titles in the genre, but the difficulty spike is rough. Like, I would recommend it if I knew my audience, is I guess the answer.
Yeah, I think I'm think I'm kind of in the same predicament there. Hollow Knight exists, and I would recommend that before I recommend this game.
Yeah.
You know? So I think kind of what Dan said and what Lex was alluding to, I would for a specific person.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And that person's name is...
There you go. There you have
All
it.
right. That's right. Matthew, if you're listening...
Our missing fourth host tonight.
Shout out.
It's too bad Matthew couldn't join us tonight because I wonder how this conversation would have gone differently. I'm sure Matthew beat the game. I'm positive of it. I'm sure,
September 5th he was done with it.
Yeah, I'm sure he had such great. And if I can convince him to record something about his feelings about this game, Shea, would you be all right like splicing it in right here? I think that would be fun.
Not at this
point.
Not at this time, Sam.
Okay, well, eventually.
We're an hour and 42 minutes into this recording, big dog.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
Well,
yeah.
All right. That's going to just about do it for us today. Hey, Lex, where can people find you online?
My Pokemon Pocket friend code is 964. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think that Shea and I are very close to a virtually analog revival. So we I don't want to get people too hyped about that, but I think we're gonna start recording those episodes again. So yeah, go follow us on Virtually Analog. You can find our website at virtuallyanalog.info. Very outdated information on there, but when we release a new episode, that's where you'll find it on Spotify and all those other places. So, yeah, that's about it for me.
In the meantime, go check out the back catalog.
Yeah, for sure. There's some good stuff in there. It's good episodes.
As for us, you can find us online at Broke N Gaming on, Blue Sky. Just search it. We're not really fucking around with any other social media at this point. We've all but abandoned every other outlet. On there, though, you can find custom artwork for every one of our classic episodes, as well as sales that you should be aware of that we call cheap codes.
If you want to share the show, you could use our hosting site, which is anchor.fm/bngpod. You can also follow us over on Twitch, where I swear to God, I say this every episode we put out, I will be getting back into streaming at some point. I intend to do Sunday afternoons, I think every other week, starting at some point in, I'm going to say January, but hopefully do it before then. And I'll be doing a run through of Skyrim to help bring people along on the Delvebound lore.
Hell yeah.
If you would like to catch up on those streams, see all the streams I've done in the past, and hit all of the episodes that we have released since the summer of 2023 when we had Lex on for BioShock, you could do so over at our YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BrokeandGamingPodcast.
And of course, if you want to send us an email for any reason with game suggestions, critiques, or to just absolutely shit all over me for calling him the Hollow Knight for like a good chunk of this, I know it's going to happen one way or the other, you can do so at brokeandgamingpod@gmail.com. All right. I think that's going to do it. This is this was a long one. I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride, both listeners and my two compatriots here. Next one won't be so long, but you do get to hear about me bitch about a Souls-like that I abandoned real quick. But until then, goodbye. Absolutely everyone.
Goodbye.
Shea, you haven't experienced the fast travel system just yet, right? The replacement for the Beetle highway thing? The Stag highway, rather?
I've been gone for 20 minutes. What are we talking about?
Shit's been in a state in like a...
No,
they're literally playing Silksong right now.
You didn't hear me screaming into the mic after I died to a bug with half a wing on it? No, I haven't gotten to fast travel system, which is a downfall to every game that I play ever.
Hey Shea, in Pokemon ZA, you just have the fast travel system at the gate. It's amazing. It's so great. You can just you turn on the game and you're able just to go wherever you want. It's awesome. Anyway, sorry.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
If only I had a $500 console that had a staple in it.
Oh, just get an old Switch. They put it on Switch 1. That's what I'm playing it on.
Oh, did they really?
It plays great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
amazing.
forget Silksong.
Yeah. Cancel the episode.